is Eric Law, and that's all you know about me. Before I tell you anything more about myself, I'd like to invite you to allow whatever ideas you have about me to surface in your mind. Now, I don't want you to screen what pops up in your mind, because by the time you say you shouldn't think that, you're already thinking it. So just accept it, because thinking these things doesn't hurt me. I'm going to guide you along with some questions. So, are you ready? Imagine you seeing someone looking like me walking down the street in front of your house maybe, or your workplace. You don't know anything about me. Now, where do you think I'm from? What language do I speak? What language don't I speak? Where do you think I grew up? What kind of family situation was I in? Where do I live? What kind of education do you think I have? If I went to college, what major would I be in? What is my first full-time job? And what do I do for a living now? Where have I been in my travel, if I travel at all? What do you think is my religious affiliation, if any? Okay? Or anything else that you have that pops up in your mind. Now, I'm going to tell you the real thing and see how you did. I was born in Hong Kong. And in Hong Kong, my parents owned and operated a music school. On any given week, we would have 400 students coming through, and I grew up with 15 pianos all around me, banging out Bach, Mozart, and Beethoven. My family immigrated to the United States in 1971, and I was 14 then. So for those of you who are good at math, you can figure out how old I am. The first place we moved to in the United States was Augusta, Georgia, where my aunt married a Chinese family that has been in the United States, in Augusta, for 5 generations. After a short period there, my family decided to move to New York City. And I went to a high school in the Lower East Side called the Seward Park High School. At that time, the school consists of 30% Chinese American, 30% African American, and about 30% Puerto Ricans. And the rest are Italians and Jews. It was a tough experience, but it was also a great experience, because that's how I was shaped in this multicultural environment when I first arrived. I graduated from high school and went to college at Cornell University. Guess what my major was? Electrical engineering. I graduated from Cornell in 1974 with that degree, and I landed a job with Corning Glasswork working as a computer system designer. And I worked for a couple of years in the engineering field and discovered that, I like to make machine works, but I like to work with people more. I am 3rd generation Christian, and I was baptized as a baby in the Episcopal Church, and I went to church all my life. So I have always been active in church. So as I was exploring, what is there beyond engineering, I decided to pursue working with people through the church. So I went to see my priest, and my priest took me to see my bishop, and my bishop says, "Oh, good, minority." Off I went to seminary. Now, after a year in Cambridge studying in an Episcopal theological school, I decided to go to France and study at the Catholic University of Lyon. I studied in a program called Audiovisual Communication of Faith. While I was there, I traveled to Rome and Geneva and all over the southern part of France. And I returned to the United States, gaining a greater vision of what the world is about beyond my church and the United States. After seminary, I was ordained a priest in the Episcopal Church. My first assignment was to be the campus minister at the University of Southern California. While I was there, I started doing anti-racism training and diversity workshop. I also started working on my first book. I didn't tell you I was a published author, did I? Well, my first book came out in 1992, and it's called The Wolf Shall Dwell with the Lamb. And it is about a spirituality for leadership in a multicultural community. Since then, I had never stopped writing. As of the making of this video, I have published 6 books, and my first book has been translated into Spanish. My latest book is called Finding Intimacy in a World of Fear. Since the publication of my first book, I have been doing workshops, consulting, and training all over the United States on diversity and building inclusive community. In the last 15 years, I have lived and worked in Canada, and I have done workshops and lecture series in Australia, Italy, and the Philippines. And this is what I do for a living now. So, how did you do? In your imagination of who I am, how many did you get right? Now, the point of this exercise is not to make judgment about what you think about me. The point of this exercise is by looking at me, there is no way you can tell that much about me. And we all make assumptions about people that we meet, don't we? And the assumptions that we make, sometimes they are correct, but most of the time they might be wrong. If I can see you, I have a set of assumptions about each one of you. If I say I don't, I'm lying. Who knows where these assumptions come from? It's up to each one of us to reflect on that. The real question is, how can I keep these assumptions in check so that when I meet you, I am meeting you for who you really are and not what I think you should be. If you're watching this video with a friend or with family or with a group, take a look around. Look at each other. Each one of the people that you see are more than what you think they are. Even if you're married to one of them, or you grew up with this person, a brother or sister or best friend, there are still things about them that you might not know. The end of this video is the beginning of dialogue. So to do that, I invite you to write down 3 things about yourself that others wouldn't know by simply looking at you. I'm not asking you to reveal some deep, dark secrets. Just something about yourself. By looking at me, you wouldn't know that I am a composer of church music, I'm a photographer, I'm a playwright. So, have you gotten your 3 things that others wouldn't know by looking at you? After this video ends, share your 3 things with someone who have also watched this video. And then when you finish sharing that, you can also talk about what you learned from this activity. Remember, listening is as important as speaking in respectful communication. Happy dialogue!